and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to go to hearing number one?
Well, we got a few minutes here, so
All right,
6:05, we have the Barnacle walk-in period.
There you go. I
all
like it.
right. Do we have a walk-in?
No,
Like,
Do we want to do the wetlands?
or the minutes.
What do you got, Beck?
need a minute to email them to me real quick.
I know.
Brian's on here. So we have minutes, number 9 on here, administrative decisions, minutes of the November 17th, 2022 minutes to be approved.
Yep. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 17th meeting.
I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. What do you got next, Beck?
We can't do Westwood.
I have a copy of this on.
Oh, perfect, yep, awesome.
Oh, we can't do Westwood?
No, because the seller, the person who just sold the previous property owner is coming in, but we
Oh.
told him to come in after the public hearing, so. The committee updates?
You sure he's coming in?
I think it was.
Okay. Yeah.
I can try calling Ryan and see.
What would you like to do?
Old business?
He's on here.
I know. Can we interrupt that and just ask them? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, Ryan, if you can, just email over the proof of the butter notifications. You're on mute, so I don't know if you can unmute.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
I apologize, I didn't know that was required for tonight's meeting.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
don't
know
know.
you did them because we've had some abutters call, but we just need the proof of that for opening the public hearing.
Unfortunately, I don't have those scanned or available right now. I know they're done. Alex from my office did them. I just don't have proof of it, unfortunately.
Beverly has hers.
From the butter?
What do you want to do?
Well, technically, we need them.
Yep.
Yep. Do we get a DEP file?
We actually did. We ended up getting the file number
of
today,
course.
so, yeah, would have been
I'm
convenient.
assuming he's not in his office. He's calling from somewhere else.
We don't have them, the rule is that we
Yeah.
don't open
We have to
it.
verify that they've all been sent, and it's, we know that some people have them, but we just gotta verify that they've all been sent.
Yeah, before we can open the meeting.
Yeah, that's the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
if
mean,
she
we
can
can
email
move
them
it.
over.
For both? So don't we have to vote on both the Sturbridge and the wetland protection? Do we
We need it for both, yeah.
We need it for
Yeah.
both to open. Okay.
Can I step out for a minute and call?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, we got a few minutes here.
We can,
I don't want to interrupt your.
Yeah, and actually, right, if we can do it a little later if we need to, if you can just, if they can just email it over, yeah, if she can email it over, that's perfect.
Well, you want to go to administrative updates? Old business?
Sure, yep, yep,
Oh, we're waiting here.
yep.
CPA was supposed to meet tonight, but is pushed the meeting out to the 9th of January. So there's nothing to advise you on there.
And just so you're aware, we are putting together some CPA requests to go to that January meeting. One thing we're not sure if we definitely need the funding for yet or not, but we need to do a full survey of the Long Pond. We are doing a partial just to review the area where there's the boundary in question. which is being undertaken right now by Sherman and Frederick. So we're doing that, but the TA would like us to have a full survey of that property done. Either there's gonna be ARPA funds used for that, or we'll go to CPA for that at the next town meeting. In addition, we're looking at a couple other projects to present too. So, and just so you're aware also, since we have a few minutes here, we are working with Boy Scouts to look for an Eagle Scout to do a project on the Heinz property. We'd like to do, I don't know if you remember, Eric, I think you might have been on the board. We had a Eagle Scout who did that little outdoor classroom down at Burgess. We'd like to do that where the cabin was that we took out, you know, the dilapidated cabin. We'd like to do something like that up there. We do have that allowance in the conservation restriction. So we're trying to hope that we can find, you know, an Eagle Scout to work on that project, so.
I know an Eagle who's looking for a project right now,
Oh.
so I will see if he's interested.
Okay.
He was working on something else, but I don't know if there's a level of interest within the town for it, so
Yeah,
I can ask.
yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
Nothing from Lakes.
What else? Anything? Next meeting is January 5th,
For lakes, or you're just saying our meeting?
our meeting.
Okay. Just quickly for agent report, the other day, this, received a water quality cert as a complimentary kind of courtesy to the board. There's the Champeau Road Bridge project. We talked about this about a year ago. DET had informed us it's a town-owned bridge, but DOT, under their, part of their transportation bill, they have, you know, allowances for bridge repairs for bridges that meet certain criteria, and this one does. So DOT is taking that project on, because it is, it meets the criteria for the bridge. It's exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act. Therefore, we won't be reviewing that as a project. It's similar to what Erin refers to as the big dig down here in front of Yankee Peddler there. It's the same thing. It meets that criteria for the exemption under the
Well, that wasn't exempt, that came before us.
We didn't review it as a notice of intent.
Oh, as a notice of intent, okay.
Right, we didn't review it as a notice of intent, but it was kind of the same thing. They informed us about it. I was involved with it. This one, there are direct wetland impacts, so they do have to file with DEP for a water quality cert, and they have to file with Army Corps as well. And they are working with them on that. They have to meet, because it's Army Corps and there's fill of land underwater, they have to do the compensatory storage, because it's the floodplain area. So they are doing that down at the East Brimfield Reservoir, across from where the old Streeter Beach is on the other side of the lake. The Grand Trunk Trail runs over there. They do have a whole plan outlined. This just came in on Thursday, so I went through it and kind of reviewed it. Since we have a couple minutes here, I'll just give you the quick details.
Yeah.
We can't comment on it if we want. It was 133 pages, and I kind of scanned through it. It is a required project. One of the things, we did give them some notes last time. Going up to the bridge, they're gonna remove, it's a 3-span piered, timber-supported pier bridge. It's gonna completely span the water body now, but like I said, there is some land under water impacts and bordering vegetated wetland impact associated with that. They're gonna pave about 100 feet of the road going up to it. There was an area we had noted there was erosion going off the road. It's all country drainage. They are gonna repair that, so that's a good improvement. We did mention that when they asked for notes before.
What about the elevation?
They are fixing that because right now,
Raising it?
yep, it's below the maximal water storage. It predates when that was turned, when
Yeah.
Army Corps took it over, because it was 1938 it was built. So it will comply with that as well now too, so that's part of it.
So it is, when they do that, do they bring, because the road coming to it
Yep,
is lower or equal, are they gonna raise that up?
I don't remember, I don't know all the details. I didn't, like I said, I just kind of combed
that,
through it
you know,
today.
There are times of the year where people that are
Yes.
Sturbridge residents have to go out through.
I don't know if
Brookfield.
they'll be raising all of that roadway that might flood, because there is wetlands on both sides.
Right,
There's a couple
yeah.
potential vernal pools on that side. It did say there's minor modifications to the roadway proposed, so, and it will comply with the Army Corps standards for that too, so,
Okay.
so. I didn't have a date on there when they're planning on doing it, but it also, includes all sorts of BMPs. They will have a wetland scientist on site overseeing like some of the replication they need to do, so. Be happy to send it along if you want to look at it.
And it does look like a big day, but they're gearing up for winter.
Beg your pardon?
The big day, they're taking a break from that for winter.
I know, I saw that there,
I'm seriously considering wagering on whether or not Caroline will graduate from Tantasqua or that project will be done first. She's 11.
if I had $1 for every grandchild that asked me when they were gonna finish this thing, when we drove by it on the way to school.
Unbelievable.
I think about 20 people lost a tire the other day too. And then there was a
Yeah,
big rumble.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Have we, and I know you're busy, Becky, but have we had a chance to look at our friends at Lad Road and get the estimated acreage impacts of what was forestry versus what was previously and all that,
No.
all that stuff? I don't want that to fall off of our radar.
Okay.
Maybe, in all of your spare time, after the first of the year,
Yeah.
I certainly understand what he was saying, and clearly Judith was swayed by the argument, but I just don't know that I believe what I was being told.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's an easy way to clearly distinguish that either. Because, if we've seen on some other forestry projects that, things that become, woods roads become roads and, state has allowed it, so it might be hard to fully distinguish those things. But go back and look at all that information that we had.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else under agent?
No, just, our court date for, our lawsuit with the, Pine Lake RV Resort, that got postponed. I'm waiting to get a date from town council on that, so I'll keep you posted. It was supposed to be this week.
Oh, yeah. Why did it get postponed?
He didn't tell me.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't know, he just emailed me today, so.
All right, well, we're at 6:15.
By that
Yeah, I
clock,
think he's working on, right, so our first public hearing at 6:05 for 126 Lake Road.
To me?
Okay. Nope, to me, yeah.
What?
Do you have it on your
No.
phone? Did she say she's sending it to Erin?
She's sending it to Aaron and Ryan. She's going to show it on the screen. So she's emailing it to Aaron and Ryan. We'll have a
Okay.
copy of it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, at least he can pull it up, right? I was gonna say
Well,
if
we
you,
have a continuation, so we might be able to.
yeah, we'll make up time, so.
All right, let's go to 6:15,
Yep,
and then we can come back to that.
yep, so,
All right.
Ryan, we're just so you're aware on here, we're just gonna go to the next public hearing. And once you have that, Erin doesn't have access to her email up here. Once you have that, if you can pull it up and I can have you share your screen, we can just verify those receipts. So we're just gonna skip the first public hearing and move on to number 2 on the list, and we'll come back to that one.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, 6:15, Lot 3 on Route 20 Fisk Hill Road and 30 Main Street, Berry Farm Road, notice of intent, continued from the last meeting. Construction of a 71-lot manufactured housing community,
Oh, I guess we have to change that.
all right?
Okay to start?
Yep.
All right, thanks so much, everyone. Brian Madden from LEC Environmental Consultants. Justin Stelmach is the applicant, is also online, and I believe I see Pete sitting there in the front row. So I just hit the highlights of the overall project as we've been reviewing, although this is the new filing with the past NOI withdrawn. It just has a clarification. There are 68 units currently being proposed with this application. Again, well, Becky, do you want me to share my screen, or do you want to?
Sure, if you have something
Pull up any-
prepared, yep, I can give you that ability here.
Great,
One
thank you.
second.
Thank you. So everyone can see that?
Yep.
Yep. All right, excellent. So this is just the overall plan. Again, 68 units are proposed. They're prefab structures on concrete slab foundations with garage and deck options. The plan in front of you is the proposed open space plan. As we've discussed in the past, there's 24 acres of proposed open space as part of this project. That's highlighted in blue. That's contiguous with the red area, which is the open space on Lot 4 as part of the overall development of Berry Farm Road. Discussions with the state have been ongoing, and we hope to have a little bit more update for you at the next meeting on January 5th, I believe is the next one. But again, the proposed open space remains the same, 24 acres, 24.2 to be exact. And with that, I'm going to move over to the crossing habitat corridor area. This is sheet C14 of the revised plan set that we had submitted a few weeks back. Again, this has been the point of most of the discussion relative to the connectivity between the westerly A-series vernal pool system, specifically the one within the southern portion of the wetland system, and then the E-series vernal pool to the east that's up gradient, upslope. Through the original application, 3 lots were eliminated, and the adjoining lots were consolidated, reconfigured to provide a greater habitat corridor, undeveloped corridor between these 2 areas. On the south side, or sorry, the west side, on the bottom of your screen right here, between lots 66 and 69, there's a 140-foot wide undeveloped area, and on the north side, the east side, there's 110 linear foot undisturbed habitat corridor. And there's no proposed work within the 200-foot vernal pool buffer on the east side. There is some minimal work within the 200-foot on the west side, and we provided those breakdown of those impact calculations in the revised submission. We are proposing in this location, 6x4 four-sided box culvert to facilitate wildlife movement through the area. There are retaining walls that abut the roadway to prevent wildlife from entering the roadway, and we've incorporated, as recommended by past peer review comments, some wing walls at the flared ends to help direct wildlife towards the crossing structure itself. The retaining walls are max 4 feet tall and taper down at the sides to the north and south. With the revised plan materials, we provided a little bit more specificity on the crossing structure itself. That's on page C30 of the plan set. And in this image right here, the section view, we have the cross section of the 4x6 foot four-sided box culvert. As previously discussed, a four-sided box culvert has been selected to enable the utilities to be drilled underneath and maintain the stability of what is going to be a backfilled 6-inch minimum of natural substrate material. So that will provide 3.5 feet of clearance between grade and the top of the crossing structure. the roadway itself is only 20 feet wide, and the crossing structure from retaining wall to retaining wall is 30 feet wide. In this image, we gave you the breakdown of where the 24 by 24 inch catch basin grates are positioned to provide sunlight penetration and moisture to the crossing structure. They've been located to avoid disturbance into the gutters or curbs of the
Brian,
roadway.
make sure you name, Mike. You're fading a little.
Oh, sorry, I'll just make sure I'm talking into the mic a little bit better, sorry. And avoid citing a catch basin crossing structure within a sidewalk for ADA reasons. Again, this is a narrow crossing, it's only 30 feet wide, and we are proposing to maximize the amount of crossing graded structures to allow for that sunlight penetration and moisture. Again, this is similar to what, or beyond what the state has approved natural heritage and endangered species program to facilitate the movement of rare wildlife species, amphibians and turtles. And we believe that this will function well to provide that habitat connectivity that the commission has discussed in the past. So a big component of the revised materials that were submitted were the stormwater. And I'll turn it over to Pete just to provide that summary.
How's it going? So we did get a stormwater peer review back for the original proposal. We finally got around to making those revisions along with all these other revisions. The original stormwater report or peer review did not have too many issues. There was questions on test pits, which we had done and added to the plans. And then there was a couple items with water quality at that first vernal pool area. And the runoff to those rain gardens are now directed to an additional rain garden to ensure proper water quality prior to discharge to that vernal pool. The remainder of the stormwater design primarily stayed the same, with just minor corrections based on that peer review. But for the most part, the stormwater system with the system of rain gardens is the same that it was prior. Like I said, minimal tweaks. Usually, most stormwater will go to the rain gardens between the units. There are a couple larger rain gardens which will receive runoff from the smaller rain gardens in larger storm events, providing more treatment, more infiltration, and peak flow attenuation. So, yeah, and we did get a second stormwater peer review back last week, and I believe we addressed all his comments related to stormwater. And he had a pretty good write-up at the end of that report, kind of agreeing with our analysis and design, so.
Okay, so just as a reminder for the board, we're still waiting for DEP to issue a file number and comments and to weigh in on the state part of the filing fee. So we can hopefully have that for the next meeting, be able to give you an update on that. As Pete mentioned, the peer reviewer did send his report in last week, so that was provided. He was unable to attend this meeting. He will be at our next meeting. In addition, we did receive the new proposal from Oxbow Associates to continue with the review of this. The proposal, I'll send that out to the project team. It's the same cost and scope to review the project moving forward since it was closed with the last DEP file number. So that was provided. We do need to just take a formal vote on that tonight for the record, and then we can have him start that review. We already have the funds in place for that review as well. Just, kind of going back on a few things, reviewing the proposal, I thought they did a good job taking the comments that we had provided in giving information on those. One thing I noted you talked about it a little bit, Brian, is that the other box culvert, the three-sided one, was mentioned in the narrative that was provided. I think it would be useful to just see if Natural Heritage is still using four-sided, if there's any recent projects, especially because you have to recreate that natural substrate, and it does require maintenance. I know you have that outlined in the O&M plan, but maintenance is something that is difficult, and if it's not maintained, it could be a concern. So if there's any data that supports that use, I think that would be valuable in evaluating if that's the best option for the crossing there. I do think that, kind of demonstrating that there's no other alternatives that might be better is feasible there. And we did look at, Oxbow had provided that graded bridge that left the natural substrate. And then there's the three-sided option too. So just kind of outlining really why, this is the best design option for here, I think is important, because it really, we need to make sure that's going to function in order to make sure that these populations stay viable there. So I think that's important. And then I think the other biggie here too is water quality. I know it did say there'd be a reduced salt use on the roadways, but, that was one of the comments from Oxbow before, is really making sure. And if there's anything that would help support, other projects, and did you have to do any water quality, with vernal pools, something that would help support that, we know that, we're not going to change the salinity levels in those pools, I think would be useful for the commission too, so. One other thing I noted that the peer review had mentioned was there's some question about the road grades in the front. They had some concerns with those, and I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that, if there's some changes that would be anticipated with the road, because we know that's within the vernal pool buffer over there too.
Yeah, so we talked with Gene and the fire department about that, and kind of cleared that up. That the issue with that, I guess the way the bylaw is written is that it's supposed to match the subdivision regulations, which I guess we're asking for a waiver for that portion of 100 feet of 2% slope. So the approach is 3%, and then there's a vertical curve down to 6%, so we can get down into the site without filling more than I think we did the calcs. That road where that first larger rain garden would have to come up, I think it's like 5 feet if we were to maintain that 2% slope.
So you have to have some additional grading off
Right.
that would
Yeah.
encroach a little
So
further.
we talked with Gene, we talked with the fire department, provided some more info to ensure that a fire truck wouldn't bottom out, which it's not remotely close to bottoming any vehicle out. It's a 3% grade change, which is pretty common with a vertical curve.
Is that something that you guys will be discussing with the planning
Yep,
board before
yep.
coming back to the commission, so you'll have better
Yeah,
idea
so
about
we
that?
have,
Okay.
I have an email, we can share it with you, from the fire department saying that they're fine with it. And Jean said as long as the fire department was good, she'd recommend the waiver. So
But from what grade to what grade? The 3%?
3 to 7.
So it's at
Or
3.
3 to 6.8.
It goes 3 to 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll know more soon about that. Okay. One other thing too is just that those vernal pools, have those been sent to Natural Heritage for certification yet, Brian?
The southerly one,
For,
uh,
the past project was, yeah. These ones, I think it's important because I know you are, in your stormwater, you are treating it as an outstanding water resource, but they are, and I think that, we'd asked before to have the certification sent in. I think that's important, just to make sure that gets done.
yeah, we can certainly do that. Were you thinking that ultimately as being a condition as part of an order of conditions, similar to the subdivision roadway?
Yeah, I think with the last one, we did it because it was more kind of all at that same time frame. I think these pools, it was 2 springs ago that you looked at them. I mean, I think there's no reason why they can't be done now. I mean, they do meet criteria under the state, like I said, as those outstanding water resources. So I think it is important that they do get certified. Since we can. I think it was more of like a timing issue last time. That's why it was written that way.
Now it doesn't need to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just the last thing is that, right, we do have some impact still within the 200-foot vernal pool buffer. They are staying outside the 100-foot no disturb. The commission can, provided they've, feel comfortable that there won't be impacts to those vernal pool populations, allow some impact within the 100, 200-foot area.
Didn't
as
we
well
talk
as
about
can't
an
restrict that.
alternative analysis as far as, on the site?
Right, that is part of what's required.
Yeah. There really doesn't seem to be any reason with 160 acres why they would need to be within the 200-foot buffer zone of the vernal pools. And I would like to see an alternative analysis regarding that.
I didn't have anything else, so.
Well, we have provided the alternatives. We can provide the commission with a little bit more information on that front if requested, but just to clarify also, so the lot before you is 41.4 acres in total. And again, we're providing 24 acres,
But you-
24.2 acres of open
The
space.
question of whether, under the Wetlands Protection Act, you have the right to take a 150-acre site and design it for your convenience to be within 200 feet of a vernal pool. So the question is, if you bought 5 acres more, and, could you get your 68 houses that way, rather than go into the area of the vernal pools? Simple.
Yeah, and we can certainly provide a little bit more information on that, but as reviewed in the table that we provided, there's a total of percentage-wise 5.4% alteration of total proposed impervious structure, driveway, road, rain garden, lawn within that 200-foot buffer. We, in comparison to what we are proposing to protect, is 11.02 acres. And, based on the analysis and what we provided, we feel that that 5.4% disturbance is an insignificant impact. It will not result in a significant adverse impact on the vernal pool's ability to provide vernal pool habitat, important habitat functions, or reduce or impair them in any manner.
So you're giving me an answer?
And-
You just gave me an
And
answer?
we certainly-
Did you just give me an answer? That you're standing pat with regard to the 200 feet around the buffer, around the vernal pools?
Well, I think we've documented and made some significant changes.
You can give me a yes or
some-
no.
since- As currently proposed, yes, it is what it is right
It
now.
is what it is, so therefore we have what you're proposing.
Yes, and we'd certainly will encourage and review the Oxbow report, peer review report when that's ready.
Yep, okay. All right. Sorry, Eric, any questions?
Just remind me, there were some questions, we're going back a few months. There were some questions about the performance of the rain gardens in the winter. And I believe you provided us some, can you just refresh my memory what you provided us and what the end result was of that? I just can't recall, and
Yeah, there was, I think, at least three studies that we provided that ultimately showed that rain gardens and low-impact stormwater development actually performs better in the winter than typical detention basins and infiltration basins and pipe and gutter systems.
that's what I thought I remembered, but
Yep.
I wanted to make sure. Okay, I'm good. Obviously, we still need to see Mr. Shevlin next meeting anyway, so they get the Oxbow.
All right.
Do we need to make a motion to approve the proposal from Oxbow?
I was gonna bring that up. I thought we had said that we would do that at the last meeting.
Well, we asked for one, and we have it, and
Yeah,
you need to,
So, yes, we do.
so I think we need to approve it, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the proposal from Oxbow for review. And, yeah, I guess that's it.
All right.
Second that.
Second on that? Any discussion at all?
No.
Nope. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right. Continuation?
yeah, or is there anyone in the audience who'd
Yep.
like to speak on the
Fine.
project?
All right, seeing none?
Before we continue, if I may, just the 200-foot we're talking about is Sturbridge, not, there's not special rules for vernal pools. We're talking about Sturbridge.
In this
Not-
situation, correct, this is just for the, under the local bylaw.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay, just wanted the clarification. Okay,
Certified,
thank you.
if it's a certified pool, the actual, pool, the wetland it's within gets protections under the Wetlands Protection Act, but this is talking about our
This
local
is
bylaw
like
regulations.
Local bylaw only.
Yeah.
Okay,
We are reviewing the project under both state and local.
understood.
I know,
Yes. Just trying to delineate. Yeah.
yep. All right, continuation? Would you like
Motion.
continuation?
Please.
Motion to continue the hearing till January 5th?
Yep, yep.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Now, Beck, you wanna?
Can we go back to one?
Yep, we're gonna go back to number 1. We will make up some time because we have,
Back to six.
yeah, we got it, Ryan.
All right, 126 Lake Road, notice of intent, raise and rebuild of a lakefront lot. DEP file number, and you have it?
We do.
It's 11:49.
1149. All right, go for it.
So just for the record, we do have proof of legal ad receipt and abutter notifications, thanks to technology here. So we have those. Let the applicant and his representative is on GoToMeeting here. Let them start. I do have a colored site plan we can put up, if you'd like me to present that, kind of help with the conversation.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be helpful. Appreciate that.
No problem.
While she's doing that, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Howard. I'm the owner of Pioneer Builders and the applicant for this project at 126 Lake Road. As discussed, we're proposing to raise and rebuild the existing single-family structure that's on this property. What I'll do is have Ryan Nelson, who's our environmental scientist from our Levesque Associates, our site design team, kind of run through the site plan as it sits revised from our meeting last week. So we do thank you, Mr. Chairman and Becky, for meeting us out there. Very insightful and informative. I think we've made some changes based on that conversation that you'll see depicted here that kind of make it more favorable in the eyes of this committee. So, Ryan, are you there?
Yes, hello everyone. For the record, Ryan Nelson from our Levesque Associates. Sorry for the wait about that. Looks like we have a nice highlighted plan on the screen here. So for those that weren't at the site visit, there's an existing lakefront cottage on the property now. It has been vacant for some time, so it's currently not being used. Dan's proposed project for this site is to demo and raise the existing house and then construct a new house within the same general area, but we are going to be shifting it away to benefit a couple items, and I'll go through those. So the access from the road is to the north, off the viewport of this page. But there's an existing gravel driveway that comes down between two isolated wetland areas, and those are highlighted in blue. To the house area, and then the bank of the pond is also shown in blue at the bottom of the page. The red highlighted is the 25-foot buffer zone, I believe. And then the yellowish orange color would be the 50-foot buffer zone. So all work for this project is located within the buffer zone. And the existing house actually encroaches into the 25-foot buffer towards the lake, and it also slightly encroaches on the building setback line. So there is a ZBA component to this project as well. Based on the site visit and some other feedback we received, we revised the plan last week, and this is the most recent version being shown. The proposed house we're shifting to the northwest, and the reason for that is to get it located outside of the 25-foot buffer zone to the pond, and then also keeping it 25 feet away from those isolated wetlands. The house will be located within the same general lawn area as the existing house. We are proposing, however, to remove 2 large dead hemlock trees located right to the west of the home. So those would be removed, and some of just the brambles and understory around it, and that would give room for construction equipment to build this house. Additionally, there's an existing well out in the front yard that will hopefully service this new home. And then there's also an existing sewer pump chamber that we'd be tying into that goes to the town sewer farther north on the property. So kind of the sequence of events we have planned is the tree trimming would occur first ideally, and that would just make more room for construction equipment to get in there and to stage a dumpster and things like that. Then the house would be demoed, moved off site, and then erosion controls would be installed along the limit of work, and then the new construction would commence. Also additionally, we're proposing along the west side of the driveway, you'll see there's a hatched area, kind of a cross hatch. That's an area of invasive species. It's mostly multiflora rose that we'd like to trim along the driveway. I would also let larger vehicles get in there and then also improve the vegetative community. There's also a shed located just off the northwest corner of the house, right at the southern tip of that larger isolated wetland.
Right.
That shed is going to be removed, and in its place, right adjacent to the wetland boundary, we're proposing to plant 1 red maple tree and 3 winterberry shrubs. Additionally, we're preserving some of the existing vegetation at the southeast corner of the property that we reviewed during the site visit. And then for stormwater management, obviously this is all existing, but we're trying to improve over existing conditions. So the roof leader water from the proposed home would go to gutter downspouts, and then those would be tied subsurface to dry well infiltrators to the rear right and rear left corner of the home. With the idea being to help infiltrate stormwater, clean stormwater from the roof, and then get that in the ground and recharge the nearby pond. And then the last item that was asked for is we added a buffer zone impact summary table to the plan, just kind of clarifying the amount of disturbance within the 25-foot buffer zone. So under existing conditions, we have, it's hard for me to read, let me pull up my own plan. We have
I can see it in
360
here.
square feet of the house is within the 25-foot buffer zone. And under proposed conditions, we're reducing it to 0, removing everything out of the 25-foot zone. And then in total, we're reducing total impervious area on the property by a little bit, 1,140 existing compared to 1,082 proposed. So I think that hits kind of the key big items. Happy to answer any questions the commission might have, or if Dan wants to add anything else.
Thank you, Ryan, appreciate it.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think just to summarize that, and the current structure that's there is not inhabitable. So the current owners are looking to, again, demolish, remove that structure and construct a new habitable single-family residence. Ryan did a great job outlining kind of the changes that we've made since the site visit. So I'll turn it over to you guys or the public for questions.
So I wasn't on the site, but, oh, actually, Becky, go for it, yeah. good point.
Yeah, so, right, we had a site visit out there. I do appreciate, I think you took the comments, and you guys did a good job at revising this plan. In the packet, we did include the original plan, so you could see the differences between the two. They did work to revise this, like they said, they pulled out of the 25-foot buffer, everything's within 50 feet, so we did talk about mitigation options on site. The dry wells came in to infiltrate that roof runoff, the removal of the shed with the restoration area next to the wetland. There's actually only 2 dead trees that are gonna be removed on the site, which we weren't sure when we were out there, so those got added on here too. They worked to revise the limit of work line. I mean, you can see as we zoomed in a little bit here, for those that weren't on site, the original building structure comes all the way out here. So it's pretty close to the lake, and the limit of work was gonna come wrap all the way around here. I mean, the shoreline, I did add the photos in the packet there too. There's some, nice vegetation along the shoreline here, so not only are they moving the structure back, but they're gonna be able to keep that as a naturally vegetated area. So there was some good improvements with that. One of the things I was thinking about afterwards, and we talked a little bit about it after they submitted this, was just maybe carrying the silt fence up around the wetlands, just to define that, because they are pretty close coming through with that gravel driveway, especially for stockpiling and, parking and things of that nature when they're doing work. I think that would be a good benefit. Doesn't actually, it's something that can be added as a condition if we needed to at this point. So I think that would be useful. The other question we had talked about, before they moved the house back, was looking at some alternative options to having to do a full foundation underneath there. Not sure if that's a concern still of the board. If you have any questions about that, I recommend discussing that. And I think that covers everything. So I think they did a really good job addressing that. They understand they need a waiver, and that's where the mitigation requirements kind of came in for that, so.
On the full foundation, is it gonna be a basement or slab or?
So right now, the architectural plans that I think are in your packet call for a poured crawl space, frost wall. Part of our site visit, we had discussed potentially doing a 2-form foundation, where the front portion of the house, or the northern portion of the house furthest from the lakefront being poured, and then a piered helical pile foundation on the half closest to the lake. Kind of the only thing conditional with that is removing the existing house to see what we're dealing with for boulders and rocks underneath that existing footprint. The current house does not have a foundation. It's built on boulders. So there's strong evidence that putting helical piles in might be challenging. So I think we're missing a little bit of critical information that we can't determine until we remove that house on just what that foundation needs to look like.
But there could be an option.
But there
to
could
do
be an
something.
option to do kind of a 2-form
Okay.
foundation.
And it's the only 2 trees that need to come down? The only 2 mature trees that need to come down?
They're
are those 2
just those 2.
dead trees?
We do have pictures of them. They're dead. They actually kind of pose a hazard to the work site in their current condition.
I like the fact that we're putting we're taking out the shed and we're putting some replacement trees in the back. Is there any opportunity to pull some additional canopy closer to the lake itself?
There could be. I mean, we had discussed cutting those trees flush with the ground, not pulling out the stumps. I mean, perhaps if we can remove the stump, we could do a 1-for-1.
To remove the stump, that would probably create more problems.
Well, I'm just saying we could do like a 1-for-1 replacement in that hole rather than digging new holes closer to the lake, if that's
Where the 2 hemlocks are coming out.
correct.
What do you think of that?
Just trying to minimize the amount of shovel in the ground.
Yeah, okay. If we could get some more shade on Big Alum, I think we want to get some more, so if that could be done, that would be good. This is the way a project on the lake should work. We have less ground coverage, we
That's
have
the
less impervious sources. Thank you. This looks good. This makes me feel good.
Just a couple clarifications, so we've gone to a full 4-foot foundation at this point in time. That's what your
Correct,
preference
that's
is.
what the architectural plans have called for, as a frost wall crawl space.
You know, and you pushed it back, and you are not increasing the square footage.
No, part of that discussion that we had out there was by maintaining at least a portion of a foundation crawl space, it allows us to put the mechanicals for the structure in that, rather than eliminating a foundation altogether and potentially having to, or requesting to push the square footage out to accommodate all those mechanical systems. So by having that extra space underneath, we don't have to extend the footprint.
And, you know, Eric's question was a good one even, and he let you off the hook, but he wouldn't have if he'd gone on the site visit. Is there a chance that we could get a couple trees in front of, between the house and the lake, in that area? In the 25-foot, because that's pretty open.
I mean, there's always the possibility.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're not dealing in possibilities here.
the current,
Possibly, we're going to approve this.
that is correct.
Yeah.
You know, I think our goal here was to try to maintain as much of the existing,
Right, no, you're doing great.
footprint
No,
as
Eric, I
possible,
agree with
so-
everything Eric said, except that I think that,
you know,
there is,
eliminating some of that
Yeah.
usable
yeah.
shoreline for the
The area where you're gonna cut down the two hemlocks is pretty crowded already. It's got young sprouts and stuff going on there, but the front of the property here could use some trees.
Are you telling me that
Can
we need to
some-
put trees in?
You know what I'm saying? I'm looking
think
for you to go,
Ryan
yeah, we'll put a couple trees in there. That's
Ryan.
a good idea.
Hi, everyone, sorry, can we just clarify, what area are we talking about, south or north of the house?
See the,
Between the lake and the house.
you wanna put your pointer on that again?
You know, he can't see
Right
the
here.
point.
Oh, you can't see the pointer.
Yeah.
But Becky can
Right in
use
this area. in here.
Ryan, we're talking
Yeah.
between the 25-foot buffer.
Within the
and-
So
25
Ryan,
foot
along,
buffer,
along this
yeah.
area, I mean, I think along
Gotcha.
down here by their stairs, their access way in, I remember there was a good amount of trees over there. It is sparse
Yeah.
in the front here, and then it is nice along the side there. So if there is an opportunity, maybe you guys could just look at that to see if there's an opportunity.
There's certainly
to add
opportunity.
something.
You know, I guess I'd be curious to see what sort of natural growth would happen by removing the two largest trees that are on the lot. They're dead. They're just, you know, again, would be curious to see what naturally comes of that site, but there is opportunity to plant more in the front
Right.
along the lake.
Yeah.
So just one other comment, sorry, I wanted to add is they did, so originally the porch was on the front on the lakeside. They did move that to the northern side where the
Yeah.
driveway area is, and they did add a small patio. We do look out, just add a comment in there to be a pervious patio, not impervious, so usually look for
That's an
that.
expansion of the footprint?
It's partially within where the previous
Within the
house
existing.
was.
Mathematically, is it an expansion of the footprint?
Of a structure?
Of the structure, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
but they've reduced also in that area.
I don't see a note on here. Is the patio pervious or impervious?
I think the patio there is just to annotate, so there was some misconception with the architectural plans and how it was portrayed on the original site plan. The porch is an entry porch to the house. The front door of the house is on the porch side. The rear where that patio is indicating has a slider that comes out from the house. So there's some sort of landing that would have to be there for the stairs coming off the back of the house onto a footing for the support of the stairs. That's what the patio is trying to
I get that, but
to
is
show.
the intention to make that pervious or impervious? And if it is if it's impervious, is that included in the calculation down below? The
Sure,
buffer
I'd have to
zone
ask
impact?
Ryan whether that was
So
calculated.
we included as impervious My thought process was it's such a small area as compared to the rest of the house. We're already infiltrating all the roof runoff from the house. The patio area is maybe just a couple hundred square feet. In my opinion, it's an insignificant amount to try and go through the troubles of pervious pavers. In my opinion, in New England, they're not that successful, but obviously open to whatever the commission feels is required here.
Oh, Ryan, I'm just trying to ascertain whether or not that, since that is impervious, whether or not it was included in the buffer zone impact summary below.
Correct, yes.
It was, so,
part of the
so
calculated
of
impervious area.
the 1090 or whatever, I can't read the number, I'm getting old, 1062 or whatever that is, that little piece is included in that number.
Correct.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Becky, you want to read those numbers to me? I can't read them either.
Existing total impervious is 1,140 square feet, and proposed is 1,062 or 82?
82.
82, thank you.
Okay.
But I guess I was only bringing up because it just should say pervious.
Right.
They don't
Sure.
like having impervious there, so just to have it noted on here.
All right. Any questions?
No, I'm good.
No? Anybody in the audience like to speak on this project? No. Okay.
So we have all we need, right? So I can make a motion to close the public hearing.
Well, the only thing, I don't have an agreement on a couple of trees in front of the house,
Okay,
period, so.
We will put some small plantings and trees in the front of the house.
Okay. How
Yeah.
small?
I'll defer to Ryan to update the plan and show the specifics on
Okay,
that.
all right,
We can send that.
good.
So
Do we have just an idea in mind? I know there's really not, any guidelines. Are we looking at 1 tree, 2 trees, 5 trees?
2 trees.
2 would be good.
2 would be good. Like 1.5 diameter, real trees,
native deciduous?
native deciduous trees.
Would you like to see that on a revised plan?
No.
Or can we just?
Okay.
I think, I don't think we need that. We can put it in the order of conditions.
Good, thank you.
Did anybody disagree with that?
No, I'm okay with that.
All right,
All right,
motion to close the public hearing?
yep, so moved.
Second that?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1149 at 126 Lake Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve of the project with the agent's notes and conditions, as well as the addition of those 2 trees, 1.5 inch diameter at height, deciduous native trees
Within 25 feet.
within 25 feet of the lake.
There was one
Second that.
comment previously about putting trees where those hemlocks were taking out. Are you asking for that as well, or is that
Well, that was in place
before?
of.
Okay, I just wanted
Yep.
to be clear.
In place of that, so,
That the
yeah.
patio is pervious.
And just make a notation that the patio is pervious, yeah, that's fine. But as long as it's included in the calculation, I'm fine. So, there's my motion. Roy, you still good
I
with
second
second?
that.
I didn't give you conditions in here because we didn't, so I can just give you some conditions if you like.
Oh,
We didn't have a file
you're
number.
so good at giving conditions, I always
We
just say.
didn't have a file
go-
number or anything when we
All
did
right.
this.
So what conditions do I need to add?
So our standard conditions, I would just ask that a quick maintenance plan for the drainage structures be submitted, and it's just what's required so people in the future know what they need to do to clean these infiltrators here. I would just also comment, one thing we talked about before was just adjusting the silt fence to go up and extend past the 2 isolated wetlands. That can be worked out on site. We talked about the trees, and then we also have a surety bond or deposit which we are requiring funds are returned or bond to be released upon issuance of the certificate of compliance. For single-family house projects, it's been a $5,000 bond that we've been doing. Like I said, that's released upon issuances of the certificate of compliance. I would also just say, as far as, since we have some landscape plantings in here, that they're installed with the approved plans and as discussed with the 2 additional trees within the 25-foot buffer of Big Allen Pond for the 2 other ones. In that, hold on a second. That they are successful for at least 1 growing season, and that the deceased plants are replaced if needed. And I think that covers it, and perpetual conditions for the stormwater structures.
Comfortable with that?
What?
Are you comfortable with that? I mean,
Yes,
okay, all right.
yep. I think that covers everything.
Are you comfortable with that?
I am.
No, okay. So with the agent's conditions.
Yeah.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks,
Right.
Ryan. Thanks for
Thanks,
getting that,
Ryan.
the butter notifications over.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank
Yeah,
you
no
all. Have a good
problem.
night.
All right.
All right, have a good night.
Number 3, 625, 698 Main Street, notice of intent, continued, commercial building and associated parking and utilities, DEP file number 300-1144.
Okay, so we actually received today a written request for continuance for this project. This project was being reviewed, had a peer review for engineering. The project team did work to revise those plans, but with the Thanksgiving holiday, just submitted those late last week. They did go to peer review for comment too, so we should be all set at the next meeting for that. So they're asking for a continuation to January 5th.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this public hearing to January 5th.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right, so we are now, we're gonna make some time here. 6:35, 63 Beach Road, continued, notice of intent, continued raising the existing house and addition and associated site work, DP file number 300-1145.
I'll just give a quick summary update while you're sitting down. So this is a continuation. The last meeting, we did look at the plan and talked about some different options that the project team was looking at. Since then, we have received revised plans, which I'll let Lenny go over, as well as a memo kind of going over the construction sequence and some alternatives they looked at, and a request for a waiver for the project.
Okay.
All right, do you want me to put, I can put the revised plan up here. Lenny, do you want me to show both sides at once, or?
Well, I can explain it from either side, doesn't make any difference.
Well, you tell me what you'd like.
Okay, we can take this one right here, this one
Okay.
is fine. Okay, what it is, actually, what we revised is this section right in here, we took this area out and made a grass area in here along this side here, it completely eliminated that. We took the deck here and stairs out of here and put in a pervious walkway coming from here to here through that and made that complete there. And then we added this shed right here, put it over here on the house, which is basically a paved area presently, and then put a porch in on this section right here, and then took the stairs that are coming down here and just brought it right back down into the front. The landscaping is done here on this side here, which is new. The landscaping in here, and then the landscaping here and the trees we put in here and here. And the two trees that we have right here, we're leaving as is, contingent on the fact that one of them is within 5 feet of the foundation. And if there's any work in there that it compromises the tree, one of them has to be removed. We showed the two new additional trees here and here to compensate for the one that would take out of here if necessary. But that won't be proven until we've gone into the site for site improvement for the foundation itself. The house itself is actually going to be used, the footprint here is where this here is the upper level, this here is the lower level. This lower level here will be excavated inside, raising roughly 4 feet higher, and then the foundation itself will be improved here to accommodate for the 4-foot additional height of the foundation itself. The site is used by town sewer and a private well. The private well right here is actually off the property. There's a 10-foot well easement that was put in over here on the lot to accommodate that well and access to the well, and approved by the abutter here for the well usage. The building carport here was moved slightly forward to accommodate this area here, and the height. What it is that with the height here being raised, there's a wall coming out here, and it's going to eliminate, so it's pretty even from the house into this area here. This existing shed will stay as is, will not be moved. We showed the trees, which is right here off the property, and this one here off the property, which we're not touching, in that area here, and basically from this point right in here, nothing's being done. As far as any work within the 25-foot from the lake itself here, there's two piers, one here and one here on the upper deck, which will be drilled and set in the foundation down below here. Oops. Okay, here and here. I'm sorry, I thought it died. But anyway, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
So I'll just, now that you went over existing and some of that, so here's the proposed plan, so you can see this area where the patio was, came out, they're gonna loam and seed that. These two, will be, the proposed tree plantings, if necessary. So these are the trees that are close, one of them, a bit close to the foundation, which he was talking about, they're not sure if they need to be removed. I did ask if they could put locations if we needed, so that way it's something that you could see on the plan, can be outlined on here. And then everything else, Lenny showed on here about the proposed landscaping. So, not significant changes from the last plan, except the removal of the patio and the addition of the trees, but really in the narrative, really outlined what would be required with the construction sequence, the alternatives, and the request for the waiver. So I think they've done a good job of addressing the comments from the last meeting that we had. So if the board is satisfied, I'd recommend moving forward, closing the hearing, approving the project. The conditions I'd recommend, we have our standard conditions. Same thing for the last one, submit the maintenance plan requirements for the drainage structures, which is the drip strip and then the pervious patio, prior to start of work, so we can have that on record. We asked for, proper documentation of the patio, the pervious patio installation and the drip strips there as well. Any trees required to be removed shall be replaced 2-to-1 with a red maple as noted in the application. Trees should be at least 1.5 inch caliper, required to demonstrate that trees succeed for at least one growing season after installation. Deceased plants shall be replaced, and then perpetual conditions for the stormwater structures. In addition, under the bylaw, I'd recommend the surety bond of the $5,000 to be released upon the issuance of the certificate of compliance.
Eric?
So the only question I had was with regards to that 2-to-1. Are those just the general areas where we expected planting? Because if I remember the site correctly, I believe both of those trees are probably likely to need to come out, right? And if both of those trees need to come out, then are those the two areas where they're gonna put in 2 trees and 2 trees, if they do need both, or is that sufficient for our needs? It's the only question.
Well, I think they only anticipate that one will probably need to come out, but if 2 do come out, then I would probably say a replacement in the area where those trees are coming out would be valuable on that side too. I think it might get tight on this side over here.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Lenny?
Yes, if they both came out, I'd say dig them both out, grind the roots, then put in a new plant, new tree in that spot.
All right, yeah, as long as we'll just make that as a note.
Right.
Or one tree over there.
Well, if they have to take out both, right? Can we
Yeah.
put 2 over there and the 2 over there, right? So
Okay.
that'll give us our 2-to-1, that'll give us what we need, and then we'll give them some direction as to where we want them, if in fact, Ed, when we were there, both of those trees would probably be at least somewhat in peril, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. I was agreeing with you quietly here.
yeah,
What
okay.
you were saying, yeah.
An arborist might say that they would probably both need to come out potentially. I mean, they might be kind of codependent on each other with their canopy anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, with the 8-foot rule or whatever it is, Lenny.
This, what?
What?
You mean from the trunk itself?
Yeah.
It's roughly 8 to 10, yes.
That's all I had.
Yep.
Just a quick question on, what is the surface between the relocated carport and the house?
Cement.
Well, this is gonna be
Is
a
that correct, Dave?
The,
landscaped area right here.
Yeah.
Flower beds.
right now, the way the lot is, it's cement all the way through here and all the way through here is complete cement. It's, right.
I have no questions. Anybody in the audience?
Anybody in the audience like to speak on this?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1145 at 63 Beach Ave, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the project under the Wetlands Protection Act with the agent's conditions and also the additional notation of the location of the 2 trees, should both of those trees need to be removed as part of this project.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1145 at 63 Beach Avenue, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland bylaw with an additional condition above what we had just approved for the Wetland Protection Act of the surety bond of $5,000.
I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our, making the changes. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we are now to 72 and 72A Paradise Lane. Lenny, you still with us? Is that you?
Yes, we're here.
Lenny
Lenny's
gets
through
to
tonight.
keep his seat.
I just got his
Okay,
phone.
that's,
Continued raise and rebuild, lakefront lot, DEP file number 300-1148.
All right, so just quick summary, so this is a continuation, was discussed at the last meeting. Since the last meeting, we did receive, additional information, kind of going over, the alternative analysis, for the project, kind of demonstrating, you know, because we did have this under a separate DEP file number before, what they looked at for the project. Project originally was within the 25-foot. They looked at moving that back, which is the plan that's in front of you today. I can pull it up if and when you want me to. With that, they had to remove some of the trees that are on the site to move back away from the lake. We did have the arborist report for that. It is a significant amount of tree removal. However, you know, a lot of them were dead or declining. And they do have that landscape restoration plan that they proposed over there. In addition, for mitigation for BMPs, they have the stormwater BMPs for the roof runoff and the dry wells for the house.
Okay.
So at this time, I mean, if the board is satisfied with what they've demonstrated for the waiver request, if you move forward with it, the conditions I'd recommend, standard conditions. Because we have a really big landscape restoration area, I just recommend that they submit an arborist report demonstrating that landscape plantings were installed in compliance with the plans and confirming that the tree trimming and the other improvements that they're proposing have been made. And just with that, they could also include just a review of the health of the landscape plantings post-installation to document success for at least one growing season, deceased plantings to be replaced during that time frame. And then just documentation of the proper patio and drip strip installation per plan and manufacturer specifications to be provided, perpetual conditions for stormwater structures. In addition to those conditions, I'd also recommend, as we have been doing, is the surety bond under the local bylaw to be released upon the issuance of a complete certificate of compliance.
Gonna put the plan up?
I can if you,
Yeah.
yeah, nothing was changed since the last one, but I can put that for you.
So we have no changes since the last one?
No changes to the plan since the last one. The new information that we received was the additional narrative for the alternative analysis.
And the DEP file number.
Correct, yes, thank you, and the DEP file number. And if you'd like me to zoom into something, please let me know, either existing or proposed.
Okay.
The project team want to add anything, Lenny?
Other than I did an alternative analysis, and the client also did an analysis that he sent to you too, so, well, other than what's in the record, I have no comments.
Eric?
I'm good. So, I mean, we're talking about some fairly significant plantings in an area where we're taking down quite a bit of vegetation. I would think it's probably in our best interest to request 2 growing seasons, to just make sure that that the vegetation or the trees are viable. Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. No, I'm not good. Of what they proposed to cut down, I wasn't satisfied that it was all necessary, and that hasn't changed. So,
As I've said before, I'm willing to leave everything up in the front near the water and just take out the trees that I'm forced to in order to put the house up. I have no problem with that.
Well, the indications were, you know, I don't want to get into it, that this entire strip was going to be defoliated, and the reason was the house, and it didn't seem to me that seemed,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, in front of the house, between the water and the house. I'll leave that just as it is right now. I won't take any of that down. Only take down the stuff that I have to take down in order to put the house in, and then replant the area there.
Which makes things clear, what he's actually saying is that right here, the limit of the house from here over, from there to here, you take the trees out just in that area because the root zone will be compromised, and just replant that section right there. If that's what you'd like.
So would that be like these 3 trees here, or?
I'd leave that entire area as it is right now, if he wants to limit the amount of trees I'm taking out.
So basically, from the 50-foot zone to the water, nothing would be touched.
Here down.
Right.
Yep, just leave it as is.
just go to the audience. Anybody in the audience like to speak on this? No? No?
All right, so nothing within 50 foot is gonna be removed. Are there,
Well, there's
remind me,
the
what do we got
maple-
for dead in the arborist report? Because I know there's some dead down there. I assume those are coming out. Or are we
If you
leaving?
want me to take the dead ones out, I'll take the dead ones out and leave the
I'm
left.
happy to leave them, if they're not creating a safety hazard, it's
No.
good for.
No, they're not. I'll leave that entire area as it is. I don't think it's exactly the 50-foot buffer, because I think there's
Right,
probably a
'cause there's
couple
the corner of
trees.
the house there. It's
Right, within
probably
that
close to the
50-foot
floor.
buffer that would lose those trees.
Maybe at most lose,
But
Yeah,
right, maybe 2 to 3 in here, that would be it.
whatever the arborist says would be compromised.
So Lenny, the
We'll take
numbers
out.
on the house size versus the new house size are, refresh my mind on that.
Okay, what it actually, the, geez, I don't,
Yeah, you
okay,
do, it's on the plan.
okay, let's just see,
Here, let me see the last plan.
okay.
while he's looking for that, there's 4 dead hemlocks in that area. There's 2 6-inch red birches that could stay, and then there's also a 5-inch ash. It's not noted on here, but that might be either dead or declining because the ash borer, I don't.
Yeah, he just said all hemlocks and
Yeah.
white ash.
This is being back-ended. I mean, we should have had these trees marked and,
Well, they are. It's shown on the plan.
Is it on
You
the
just can't-
plan?
Yeah, you
Okay,
just can't see
alright.
it from there, and it's in the arborist report too.
Every tree in the area was in the report,
I would,
every tree.
I would
Tree
make,
what?
Every tree in that area was numbered and in the report.
Okay, yeah.
there's two red birch there that aren't noted as declining or dead. That would be valuable to save, but the other ones, if they are,
So Lenny, what's the
Dead.
size of the new house?
The size of the new house is, it would be, with the porch is 1,441, and with the porch and deck on the other one is 1,229 square feet. So we're talking roughly 100-foot difference.
Well, there's a shed too.
And the shed, which was 126. So the house, the existing house with the shed and everything was 1354, and with this thing, after everything is done, the house and the thing would be 1441, so it would be roughly 90 square foot difference.
All right, you have a motion?
And just to confirm, within the 50 foot,
Within-
there's nothing within the 25, within the 50 foot, we went 9 square feet of impervious
Right, to,
down to 225 square feet of impervious. That does not include the pervious paver patio, but that's gonna be maintained under an O and M.
right, so you end up with actually, this coverage within the 50-foot, you end up with the less 304 square feet.
Yeah, and the pervious patio is 180 square feet,
Right,
is that right? So even if we included that in the calc,
right.
between 25 and 50, we're still having less lot coverage.
Correct.
Did I get that
Abso-
correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, nothing from the,
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna, recommend as a potential option, so there is a severely declining maple on the front patio, and then there's the ash that has the emerald ash borer along the shoreline that are gonna be proposed to be removed. Maybe there's an opportunity to add one tree, maybe where the ash is, that could help, give some canopy by the shoreline if the commissioners felt that was valuable and the applicant agreed. That might help satisfy some of your concerns.
okay. Yeah, that was my next question. Can we increase the number of red maple, in this planting schedule? Because we got,
What's the size of the ash? That's a big one. That's what, 16?
To go back here, let me see. It's right next
I
to
don't-
there.
you know. I thought you were referencing it, I thought you knew.
24 inch.
What?
24
The
inch.
24 inch?
Right, it's got that lean.
Yeah,
And then the maple is also at 24 inch, which is,
yeah.
has
better off
significant
leaving it.
decline. So if there's maybe in one of the locations where the tree is, something like that, that might help the shoreline in that area.
yeah, we got 2 of the red maple going in inside of the 25. And then the third one is going out near the 100.
The new ones?
Yeah.
The new ones are being deleted. If you're talking about the ones on the left side of the property on the western shore, because we'll be leaving that totally as is.
Oh, yeah.
Those aren't gonna be there now.
Yeah.
Considering the state of those trees, it might be valuable to have the restoration done in that area, considering they're dead and declining. For the long term, it might be more valuable for the resource area.
Okay. Well, the only caveat I would put, I agree with you. I would rather take out dead or declining trees and put in, but I don't want to replace a tree that's creating a tremendous amount of canopy.
You have 2 24-inch trees, you're gonna
With-
replace with 2 1.5-inch.
Right, that's
ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that 24-inch tree is gonna come down eventually, right? And so if we can be proactive, then I think we should consider doing that and being proactive, but just replacing it with 2 maple down there with all of the larger, more established trees is probably not sufficient, right? Beck? I mean, if we were to go with the original, the original replanting schedule, with the amount of, trees that are dying over there, and put a more aggressive planting down near the shore that will allow for, over time, more canopy, it's probably, short-term, not better for the lake, obviously, but long-term.
Right.
After you and I are all dead and gone.
Hey, listen, I got a couple more years on you, Ed, jeez. I don't know.
Right, if you put something over here, that's where the ash is coming out, maybe that'll add some canopy where all this patio is. There is a big hickory, I believe, right here, or some other trees in this area.
And that was always remaining though, right?
In this one, this oak right here is staying. They're actually making improvements from the arborist that he recommended about removing the patio around the roots. That'll still be here. So these guys have canopy right now. These guys will grow up and have future canopy. But right, we're gonna lose some in this area. So if there's something, maybe that would be a good compromise.
want to make a motion, Eric? So we're just wandering here.
I know we're wandering, but before I make my motion, can we put some canopy down towards the front there where Becky was just pointed to additionally protect the resource? If we put,
Like where the ash is
I'm,
coming out.
I'm trying to think of something that I can give, I mean, not for nothing, I look at the area that I'm replanting and the amount of money that I'm gonna spend there, taking out all that garbage that's there, and I think I'm really doing a service, and it's not just for you, it's for me too. I want that, I do.
Yeah.
I do, because I think it's a huge improvement. But now, I'm doing all of that, and now over here, and I'm like, do I wanna take out those trees and put in 2 new ones? No, well, so we've got the ash tree that's literally pulling the roots up over here that's over on the
is right-
eastern side of the property.
Right there, and that's.
What if I took it out and put like a 10-foot maple in?
Playing what up here? I think we've gone
Was that one proposed
around the
as
loop.
well?
Everybody's,
yeah,
we've
it's
got a
proposed
plan
to come out.
before us.
All right. Well, motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
All right, with regards, what do we get? I gotta find what number we got here. There we go.
But the,
348?
With regards to DEP file number 300-1148 at 72 and 72A Paradise Lane, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project, I think with the existing planting plan or restoration plan outlined in the most recent
right,
submission with an additional maple tree to go in the area of that ash to provide additional canopy for the lake under the Wetland Protection Act with the agent's order of conditions, with 2 growing seasons, with a submitted arborist report demonstrating the landscape planting had been installed, and the perpetual conditions for stormwater structures and documentation of proper patio and drip strip installation per the plan.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin opposed. It passes.
So now you gotta do it.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1148 at 72 and 72A Paradise Lane, I'd like to make a motion to approve under the Sturbridge wetland bylaws this project with the conditions noted above and the surety bond for $5,000.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin opposed. Passed. All right, we are on to Mount Dan Road, 16 Mount Dan Road.
You'll tell me when the other hearing is planning board.
yeah,
Okay, cool, thank you so much.
yeah, they're going to.
Continued notice of intent to raise and rebuild a single-family home.
Then I'll send that to you.
Lakefront
That's gonna be
DEP file number
recorded.
300,
That's gonna be sent back to
1135.
them, and then we go to CBA to get the building.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Lenny again? Jeez, you love us.
Okay. The next one, I want a continuance, and that the architect hasn't finished the building plans
Okay,
for them. So I'd like a continuance on that until the next meeting.
Eric, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to continue this public hearing on DEP file number 300-1135 until January 5th.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right, what's next?
Westwood Drive,
What?
Westwood Drive,
Yeah.
number 7.
So this is, there's two, we can start with the first one on here. So we have two requests for certificate of compliance. This is for 77 Westwood Drive. So this is a project that, it's DEP file number 300-913. Permit was issued, actually I didn't write down what year it was, but I think maybe 2016 or so.
2002 was the first one. It was
Okay, well,
9 years
years,
before I
years.
bought it.
The
Yeah.
blue one yours first.
Yeah, it was prior to my starting
Okay.
here, a few years before that. There was some restoration work that was required to be completed, and a drainage structure was proposed to be installed within the driveway for a roof runoff. In addition, there was some work, I can pull the plan up in a second, an existing shed, and some work that was within like the 25-foot buffer zone of a stream over there that he was required to move. Mr. Goslin has actually sold the property, and there's new buyers, new property, new owners there, they're not buyers anymore. They did a whole back to work to kind of address some of the things. He did an as-built plan showing the current conditions out there. Everything recently came in, he came in and we talked about it. I went out recently and was unaware and kind of realized there was a little bit of an area of work that occurred, some vegetation removal, maybe a little leveling up there, within, outside of the approved limit of work. I advised him that I noticed that when I went out for the site visit, based off of past projects and concerns, things that had been done in the past, was the commission look to have those areas restored. I wasn't sure, I felt that the commission might ask that. We talked about some restoration options. It gets a little complicated because he doesn't own the property anymore. So the request is in front of you. I'll pull up the as-built plan that shows the current conditions that Mr. Jalbert picked up out there, and just kind of show you the, I'm just gonna share this for future viewers.
Whoa,
Wow. That looks like a delicate.
it's like one of those House of Mirrors.
Yeah, yeah.
Still scary, getting better. There we go.
All right, so let me zoom in, and actually, Ed did go out there today and just took a quick look at it, since I was the only one that went out there. Just zoom out a little bit. So I added these are my colorings on here. So this is the approximate, based off of reviewing the plan, where the limit of work line was. So there's two permits in here. The original permit, which we'll go into next, actually, when the people came in, their limit of work line was closer to the stream. The commission had it moved to about this location, and this was the limit of work line for his project. So when he had the property, he was putting a house addition on there. So some of that was already developed area, but that's where the limit of work line was. Up here is the area that looks like it was cleared. I think he had a swing set up there previously where there were some trees and shrubs in that area. Some is probably within this is approximate, some is probably within 25 feet, but a lot of it's within the 25 to 50 foot. So you can see on this plan here, there are some plantings that he did put in along the side here as restoration. The shed was down in this area, and a little bit of the driveway, which he worked to resolve all that. I did take a look. He's got his downspouts leading. He's got some crushed stone areas there. I mean, I didn't see any erosion issues. So I think, it's sufficient to manage some of that stormwater coming off the roof, since it's directed into those crushed stone areas, so.
Yeah.
So it's up to the board, if they have concerns with this area that was cleared up here or not. I had put some pictures in, I can pull them up if you didn't get a chance to look at them. I had them in the packet for you. If you do have concerns, you can, work with him. You'd have to work with the new property owners on maybe how you look for some restoration up there or not.
Yes, question. This is for 477. Was there, what was the engineered plans, or was there engineered plans for, or something for
Well, this
nine
was,
thirteen.
No,
this
this
was
is
for
913.
913, so this is the as-built
Oh.
for 913. They were doing the house additions, which things changed a little bit, so we had to do the as-built plan. The 477 was just, they were doing, the backyard was, I mean, I think, I don't know if I have the plan scanned here, but it was landscape and grading in the backyard behind the house.
Oh,
Okay, and they did originally, they wanted to come up into this area. That's where the original limit of work line was, and it was moved further back over here.
gotcha.
But this red line is the limit of work line that was shown for his project, which is, you know, in the same area as where that other limit of work line is.
This area here, going back, this here is, this slope there and everything here is all mulched, and this slope here is mulched, and then there's this fence right here, which they have, which is an open rail fence going from here, and they put in a walkway, which is right in here. This- yeah, oh,
Stairs.
excuse me, right there, a walkway going up to this flat section up above here, and that's all been stabilized too with mulch, so the whole area is stabilized. They also put in, which was not part of it, is that they put in a riprap area along the road here too to take care of any runoff from the slope over here into the road. And they put in another fence along this area here, and then a fence down here to control. Outside of that, everything appeared to be relatively stable. I didn't see any signs of apparent reason for any erosion control, and I considered the property itself stable.
Where's the play structure?
It's been removed.
Oh,
The structure was basically
It was at the top of the stairs,
basically, that way up.
right up at the top of the
Right there.
walkway there.
oh, I gotcha. Yeah, okay. And so the proposal is to kind of leave it as is. Will it revegetate? I mean, would it benefit from revegetation then?
This area, to my knowledge, up along here was vegetated and it's been cleared.
Right. So would it revegetate if we left it?
Well,
Or would
additional
it need to
trees
be-
along.
Well,
Along-
it was all briars. And each spring I would go up and I would cut the briars down at the mulch level, so it does grow back through the mulch. The briar,
Yeah.
there was one tree that was dangerous. It was dropping limbs in the backyard, and with my kids playing, I did cut it down, and you'll see the stump sticking up.
Yeah.
So I did cut, it was maybe a 8-inch hemlock, I think. But I mean, the limbs were falling off a bit, so I looked at it as dangerous, that's why I cut it.
Yeah.
But the rest, it was just briars and then raking out, because it's all gravel. I did flatten it a little bit, and then I mulched it all.
So
We wanna do it?
I'll re-ask, would it benefit from just allowing it? I mean, what do you think? I mean, you were on site, I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's along a stream,
Right.
and the stream is defoliated so that it gets direct sunlight that it didn't get.
Right.
would
And
probably-
allowing the briars to grow up that's not gonna help that.
Well, it probably will over time.
Right.
Probably will beat the Paradise Lane site before you know it, but.
There are a
You had to
couple,
get your dig in there.
there are
Okay.
a couple.
Well placed.
I have some photos, so there are a couple mature trees over there, but right, it's kind of open where it
Yeah.
drops down.
Do you have a
There are
recommendation, Beck?
If they leave it be, it could grow back. I mean, I think it wouldn't hurt from planting another tree or two up there, but if it grows back, then, you know, it's just a matter of them not using it too.
Okay. So, I mean, all right, then, I mean, obviously, harm's been done. We need to figure out how to extract ourselves from this, and we're in an awkward situation, but, you know, could we put a couple of shade trees back there and just, you know, are the new property owners okay with that, just that area revegetating itself?
Considering they were picky about paint colors in the house, I don't know. My attorney, my closing attorney reached out to theirs to give them a heads up about this, and they're not responsive. We haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
And now he's been reaching out to them since the end of last week. I'm sorry, middle of last week.
I talked to him today.
Oh, you did, when you were over there? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he would have any problem, with some trees going in along that stream.
Okay.
But I don't, I didn't ask that directly of him.
Sure.
He was aware of the problem, but, I asked him if he was coming to the meeting tonight, and he didn't know about it.
Okay.
That's,
I can only tell you what my attorney's told me. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, considering time of year, it makes it a little more complicated, to get that done. You'd have to wait until
but,
March.
what we're looking for is an as-built here, right? And we don't have an as-built. It's not,
Well, you do, it's just not as built to the original
not-
plan, yeah.
it's not an improvable, in my opinion, as-built, without some mediation for the stream.
How would you enforce, I don't know, guess I speak
What-
as an
what I would
outsider.
do is
How
I
would
would
you-
do-
How would you get, if you wanted to add trees and it's now December 5th?
Been doing it in the
Doesn't-
spring, it's
and he
clearly,
doesn't own
it's
the property
clearly,
anymore.
yeah,
In the spring, how do we make sure?
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had this come up before, but it was all during the process, so they were able to work together on it, the buyer and seller of a different property. It was able to be worked out as part of that process, so
Right.
when spring came, the plan was already in place, they planted it.
Yeah.
This is just a little more complicated, right, because it's a different property owner, and you'd have to agree on how to get that done, what to put back there. It's a little more complicated.
How is it that we have two open certificates?
People never closed them
And
before.
really- But aren't the attorneys supposed to,
Well,
check that?
they're doing, from what I've been told, is that the title
Yes.
search attorneys are doing a lot better job now, than they have been in the past. We have that come up a lot where we've had older ones,
Yeah.
people, they've transferred twice.
yeah,
So,
but not,
right, when he bought it,
913 is not all that old.
that one's not that old, no, but the 477 is.
Right.
And obviously,
That's
when
what I'm
he
saying.
bought the property, it didn't get caught by his title search, so it carried with him.
Yeah.
nor did him
No,
outstanding
477
discharge
one
mortgage.
is real, it was done by Mr. Para years ago. And it's gone through, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 title transfers, so I don't know what to say.
So,
And-
what I'll
and
say-
It's also expired, so.
Is, I don't know how we get there, but I'd like to see that revegetated and at least get a couple of shade trees over there to protect that stream. How we get there,
It would not have to be much. It's
Right.
not a very big stream. There's a bump above the stream, so if you put the trees on the bump as you're going up the hill, it would shade quickly in a few
Right.
years, and I'd say you put 3 trees there, red maple or something like that, any kind of and that'd be it.
And the stream actually is intermittent, it's not a seasonal stream, so.
okay.
And it was gone before this board and voted as an intermittent stream.
So are you thinking, so we can be clear, I guess what we could do is, work with the new property owners, we can work with them. Your attorney did email me today and asked if we could work with the new buyers on this. If you're looking for, we can continue this one to the next meeting, look for 3 trees, right? 3 red maple trees along the 25-foot buffer. Remember, there's a property line right here, so maybe 1, 2, 3, somewhere in this area. Would that be what you're looking for? It's just so to make sure I'm clear when I have to
Right,
work with
yeah.
these people. And then they can plant it once the growing season happens, and then they can close out the order conditions, issue the certificate then. That's the only option if you want something, I
Right.
think.
I guess my question is, and I mean, I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but I'm losing my holdback money because it's not done by, I got a 2-week continuance because this wasn't closed out by November.
Yeah. I'd recommend good legal people in the future, that's,
Well, what,
Well, he did work to address some of the things that we
so
knew were issues. but
they're
we
gonna
didn't
keep the
notice.
holdback money, so it's no longer my issue. it's their issue. So how do you,
Well, that's,
they're gonna keep the holdback money because I'm not gonna be able to give them a closed
they'll own the
permit.
land,
They own the land.
so they will be responsible to us.
So is that where you guys have to go to them, or do they come to you? I just want to be able to, because it's not in my interest anymore to spend any more money on this if they're keeping my holdback.
Yeah, understood.
So if I could tell them I'll give them $1,000 to do this and it's closed, but you guys can't, you can't close something until.
Don't you still have that little Kubota?
No.
No, I was
No,
gonna
that's
say, you
been-
could drive her out there and put a couple of trees in.
It's just, it's,
Put the trees in right now,
Lenny, how's he supposed to, how should he handle it?
please.
I said, how should he handle it? He said,
I'd put the trees in right now.
well,
but if they were responsive to you, it doesn't mean they're gonna be responsive to me putting trees in. Because their letter, when they bought the house to me, is they wanted their swing set up exactly how, because they have young children. So they wrote a note to me saying how they could see their swing set in that same exact spot.
oh, wow.
So,
Was there a swing set?
no, it was my swing set. I had twins.
Yeah.
And they envisioned their swing set for their little children in the same spot. So their intent was to use that area.
Yeah.
So,
But you really could use that area. Nobody said anything of moving the steps or anything. All I'm saying is putting in trees along the stream.
right, but how do I get to that point? I have to go
I don't
through
know,
attorneys,
call him up
right?
and tell him, that it's gonna be a problem for him if he ever tries to sell the property.
Okay,
If you don't get, tell him you negotiated with us and if we put in 3, deciduous trees, do it with them. Either of you have a truck,
oh yeah, I have a truck.
just get 3 trees from,
I understand, I
Lamb
can do all that, I understand, but I can't go on the property.
well, you can if you get approval with him, if you talk to him.
I understand that, but it's been a very difficult sale.
Yeah.
They were very nice to you, but they were a nightmare.
Okay,
buyers.
yeah, I can't.
So I don't think I'm gonna be able to go up there and plant trees.
Well, another option is you could ask a landscaper, what would it cost to plant 3 trees?
They weren't that
Trees
bad.
and the 2 hours of labor, and then you negotiate with them to.
But they
keep
weren't that
rate.
bad. When I was there doing the as-built, they didn't throw any stones at me, so it was
Then
good.
it might,
There's liability on the property, so it would be very smart for them to be
Correct.
pleasant to you and to take a Saturday afternoon and pop 3 trees in.
right. I
Say, hey,
understand.
Conservation Commission,
I guess I'm just asking if my attorney's not hearing back from their attorney, which I understand they could be nice to everyone else. They're nice to all my neighbors that I used to live there.
Well, I did get an email today, so I think he did hear back, maybe it
Oh,
was just
okay.
today, this
I haven't
afternoon.
talked- and that was
Yeah, it
Tim?
just happened today, he emailed and said, can you work directly with the current owners? And I said,
Asking
that's
you
fine.
guys to
Yeah,
work?
and I said, you're coming to the meeting, we can talk
Okay.
about it tonight.
See,
So,
I haven't heard from my attorney today.
yeah, I think that,
Okay.
I think what they're saying is if, right, we can get them to plant 3 trees, so maybe you guys come up with a cost, hey, 3 trees, couple hours labor from a landscaper, 5, whatever it costs, do
Yeah.
that to the whole back, will satisfy their concerns, I can put something in writing, you
Mm-hmm.
can meet them out there, and then, hopefully you can work out your whole back from
Yeah.
them.
And Ed, if the current owners put a playscape where that his previously was, is that okay?
yeah, that wouldn't be any problem.
There's
All right.
enough space up there where you could restore.
I'm only talking
Just
about.
wanted to cover all of the
Yeah.
bases and maybe that will, but, all right. Unfortunately, we can't help you with interpersonal stuff. We can
Oh,
tell
I
you
don't
what we
expect
need.
you to, honestly. I
But
just,
Lenny's good at it.
There you go. Everybody likes Lenny.
So are we continuing this?
Yeah, well, we're
We
gonna,
don't need a
yeah.
motion.
No,
It's not a
we're just,
hearing, but
yeah,
we're just,
yep, we're continuing it,
So there's the 300-477, which is the older one.
yeah.
Do you feel you need to continue both, or can you release the older one since you're gonna have the more
I wanna
current?
leave them just the way they are until they cooperate and put a few trees in. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
so I lose my holdback money on both of them.
He's got
Oh, you got 2 on
holdbacks for
both?
separate, so I would say release the
What was
older
the
one
first-
and keep the
what was
first
it?
one. What?
Well,
Is it all set?
The
Is
first one,
all set?
the older one is okay.
Yeah, I would maybe release
Is it
that
the
one for
older
now.
one that's okay, or the newer one? Because I thought the
the
newer
newer one's
one
the
was
problem.
just grading outside of, right?
No, I think it was the newer one that was the issue. There was some pictures in the older one that did show like the limit of work line set up, so that one probably was executed per plan, it just changed afterwards. So
Okay.
I would say for his sake, maybe just, since there's two separate holdbacks, just release the older one and
So
Okay.
we'd issue a
Which one is it?
certificate of
Number 8.
compliance for 0477.
Yep.
yeah, it's a complete, and there was no perpetual conditions
right.
noted.
All right,
Have a
I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 300-0477.
I second that.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Were Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. So you got one,
You got half a loaf.
yeah.
Better than nothing.
Well, you gotta plant the 3 trees. Plant the 3 trees.
And I can do that now, or
Thank
can
you
I
for
do
your
that?
Yeah, I'd do it now if you got holdback money.
I would.
Well, no.
Well, I
you
didn't know
can't-
if it
you
had
can't
to be
plant them
the
right
next-
now, they're not gonna survive.
What?
Yeah, we
What?
can't,
Plant it, like, literally now, like December 5th?
no, it won't live.
No.
Yeah, you gotta wait till the growing season
That's why I'm
starts.
asking.
You can't plant right this minute.
It will live. If you can dig the hole, it'll live.
You think?
Just get a legitimate, good nursery bald tree and don't let it get dry.
Huh?
And if you got 3 of them in, take a picture of them.
There you go. If they're okay with it.
I mean, is everyone okay with it? Because it doesn't look like that.
I will defer to the chair. Yes, if he's okay with it.
Where do you even get 3 trees right now?
No. Christmas trees?
Emeralds.
Christmas trees.
No, I'll plant a Christmas tree.
If a landscaper, arborist
Professional?
person, yes, someone
Landscape
says that you
professional?
can get them in the ground right now, then I would recommend that they do
Ground is
it.
not frozen, it's official. Not frozen right
All
now.
right, well, I would just
Keep
say,
enough mulch and
all
leaf
ground.
over it, it's
It
not gonna
doesn't freeze.
freeze.
No,
yeah, but I don't know. If a professional says that, yes, you can get them in still, then, right, get them in right away.
So it's
Yeah.
a professional now, it's not just plant them?
Well, I think you just, if a landscaper,
Ask somebody for their professional opinion. We don't need a landscaper to put them in, but if somebody says that these things are gonna die, please don't do that.
you call a Lamro greenhouses or something similar and ask them, and they say that that's okay at this,
And any hardwood, any,
something native,
Yeah.
red maple.
Okay.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, we'll draft that tomorrow and we'll email it over to everybody. All right? You're welcome.
That's a pain. Sorry you have to go through that.
Part of life, right?
That's it.
Uh,
And we're at the end, my friends.
Roy,
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Were Bishop in favor?
7:59. We get out before 8 o'clock? Guys.
There a motion?